Oh, we're happy.
There's a time delay fist pump.
I'm kind of excited for this speech.
Oh, we're excited to hear it.
All right. Is anybody surprised that I chose?
Not really.
You should
That's
be.
okay. Yeah.
Pretty dope topic. Imagine that your country is in an economic slump. Innovation has slowed, inspiration has dwindled, and aspirations have disappeared. And now imagine that the one government agency with the power to solve all of these problems isn't being given enough money to do its job. As a matter of fact, every year its budget is cut more and more. The country that I'm speaking of is, of course, the USA, and the Miracle Agency, well, that's NASA. The National Aeronautics and Space Administration affects everyone in this room and everyone in this country every single day. No other agency provides as much innovation, as much excitement and exploration, or as good of a return on their funding as NASA does. It's one of the most positive driving forces in our country and our economy, and because it's not fully recognized or appreciated, it's barely scraping by. Now, you may not realize it, but NASA has made invaluable contributions to your everyday life. NASA faces the most complex problems in the world, and they succeed by innovating and inventing new machines and new materials. NASA calls these inventions spin-offs, and according to the list at nasa.gov, these include things like GPS and satellites, MRIs and ultrasounds, artificial limbs, solar energy, water purification systems, and the list goes on. Even the breathing systems that firefighters use are made out of a special material that NASA designed specifically for rocket casings. In addition to all these spin-offs, NASA provides critical services for our country. They have countless in climate change to provide accurate forecasts and predict things like hurricanes. They also monitor air pollution, biomass reduction, solar flare activity, and potential near-Earth meteors. As if all of these spin-offs and services alone don't make NASA worthwhile, they're not even the main focus. NASA is all about fulfilling the human desire for exploration and for discovery, pushing the limits of what is humanly possible and searching for new knowledge. And in terms of exploring and finding amazing things, there's nobody in the world as good as NASA. They're responsible for putting the first man and the first woman on the moon, for sending a mobile science laboratory to Mars, and for literally looking back in time, billions of years, to ancient galaxies and seeing what the universe looked like in its early stages. NASA is not only important in scientific research and discovery, they also have a very significant, positive, and documented impact on our economy. As our country struggles to overcome the national debt, Congress cuts NASA, but by doing so, they're making a huge mistake. Relatively speaking, NASA's budget is already minuscule. According to the Congressional Budget Office, in 2008, the bank bailout cost $700 billion, and the 2011 military budget alone was over $684 billion. By comparison, NASA's 56-year total for their budget is only $526 billion. Now, with the little money that they are given, NASA is incredibly efficient. In 2011, they launched the Curiosity rover for Mars, found a potentially habitable planet 600 light years away, and discovered a solar system with 2 suns, which was actually first seen. The concept of that was actually in the first Star Wars movie, so that's kind of cool. So in a little bit of perspective, according to NPR, in 2011, the same year, the Department of Defense spent more than $20 billion on air conditioning for tents in the Middle East. Now, NASA is not only very efficient with their money, but they're also one of the best investments around. In 2002, Professor H.R. Hertzfeld from George Washington University studied 15 companies that invested money into NASA's spin-off research and development and successfully commercialized the product. What he found was that in total, these companies invested about $64 million into research and received over $1.5 billion in value-added benefits back. This equates to $1 in and over $23 out. As you can see, NASA is an amazing investment for any private company, but they're also an amazing investment for our government, and they deserve more funding to continue researching, exploring, and benefiting our country. Now, all it takes is to double NASA's budget from 0.48% of the federal budget to 1%. And this is what I call the necessary step. So, if we double NASA's budget, then they can do everything that we've ever dreamed about them doing. We were the first nation to the moon, But right now, we're the only spacefaring nation without the capability to send our own astronauts up. We actually send them to Russia, who then sends them up to the International Space Station. According to Neil deGrasse Tyson, if you guys know him, one of the most prominent modern astrophysicists and NASA advocates, if we double NASA's budget, we would have enough money to go back to the moon, to go to Mars soon with people, and to land on and study asteroids, which could potentially hold the key to the beginning of life on Earth. We'd also see a huge surge in the STEM fields and see innovation and dreams for tomorrow like we haven't seen in decades. All of this is possible if we can just convince Congress to spend a little more on NASA. This is where you guys come in. Penny for NASA is a campaign started in 2012 by John Zeller, a computer science major at Oregon State University. It's part of the Space Advocates program, and it's based on the belief that NASA's current funds do not reflect the hugely important economic, technological, and inspirational resource that it has been to this country throughout its 50-plus year history. They propose that the budget should be doubled to at least 1% of the U.S. federal budget, 1 penny on every U.S. tax dollar. Now, going to pennyfornasa.org is the easiest and fastest way to help, to make a better, more innovative, and more exciting tomorrow. It takes less than 1 minute of your time. All you do is you Google pennyfornasa.org, you click on the website, there's a big red Take Action box. So you're going to click on that, and they're going to ask for some basic information like your name and your address, and they're going to provide you with the opportunity to write a brief statement, which will have plenty of info from here, about why you think that NASA deserves more money. Penny for NASA then sends this request to your senators in Congress, who will see it as they review the budget for the upcoming fiscal year. For less than 1 minute of your time, you can make the 1 cent difference that NASA needs to bring our space program and our nation back to number one. To quote Neil deGrasse Tyson, how much would you pay for the universe? Thank you.